It's a big old boss room here, if ever I've seen one. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, hey, that's the west of the western caves. We were already there. Okay. Well then. We skirt around the edges. We could find some extra treasure or a little bit or bob that maybe can provide support or something. Looks like stuff's getting sucked this way. We're gonna approach an Audra statue of Dreamergond. Or something. Oh, there's the dragon. He's being sucked. He's trying to break free. Oh. Poor fella. I don't feel that sad for you, though. Or just some ravenous beast.
There's a strange energy in this wind. Could that portal lead to the beyond?
I bet it does. I bet it does. Into the realm of entropy. This icy chasm extends to no visible bottom. I mean, presumably if these are like guys, there's their boobs and then their stomach, and then they go behind the wall or something. I don't know. They're in the glory holes.
How's that ass feel?
It doesn't seem like there's many other approaches. Does Dreamergond care about trespassers? What you initially take for yet another frozen corpse appears on closer inspection to be a heavily armored figure encrusted in a jagged layer of cloudy bluish ice. The warrior's upraised hand seems to be reaching out towards something, their fingers splayed wide and grasping. Two of the fingers have been broken from the hand based on the hard, sharp edges of what's left. It seems this occurred after the figure froze over. The angle of the joints indicate that the warrior once gripped something tightly, something since removed. Deep scratches in the wrist suggest that someone clawed at the figure long after it froze over, perhaps to remove the absent object. So could someone else see better? No? Huh. How's the armor looking, eh? The breastplate and chain worn by this figure seems significantly more intricate than anything else you've seen since arriving at Harbinger's Watch. Padding and heavy cloth complete the panoply, probably as protection against the cold. Presence of spirits. You open your soul to the presence of other spirits. While a few strands of weak soul energy cling to the frozen figure, you sense no soul present within or near the body. Can I remove the helmet? The helmet does not appear to be as solidly frozen to the figure as the rest of the armor. A few minutes spent wiggling and tugging at it frees the helm. Excuse me. Lift it to reveal an elven woman with bluish-white skin and darker blue hair. Her coloration and the heavy epicanthic folds hooding her eyes mark as Glenfallen. Man, we're learning all kinds of new words today. The Helm of the White Void. Oh, that's pretty good. Can I remove the armor, or is that gonna be R-rated? The armor's intricate straps, weaved chains, and interlocking plates have frozen solid. Removing the armor without damaging the warrior within may prove difficult. if not impossible. Who's got some good sleight of hand? Seraphim? You're known for undoing some tops in the business. Despite hours of careful effort, the armor straps and buckles do not yield to the clumsy fingers pawing at them. Not good enough, it seems. Well, Aloth does have some fire magics. Though that could be part of the, Let's see. Fan of Flames is pretty low cost. Let's do just a basic Fan of Flames. Burst of flame. Steam billows outward as the ice melts away from the corpse. After a moment, flickering orange light and cracking sound emerges from within the cloud as the corpse's clothes ignite. Yeah, that's what I thought. The charred remains sag to the floor, rapidly cooling as the magical flame runs its course. You gather the miraculously unharmed armor from the remains. Sweet Guardian's Plate. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Spread Chaos. While afflicted, just bonuses to defense. It's got a 12 armor rating and a recovery time of 55%. It's a pretty heavy. I don't know. Speak a prayer for the elf soul, Jyoti. You take a few moments to consign the deceased to the wheel, and you leave the remains behind. The charred ashes behind. Well, into the wheat mouth.
You stand before the shining portal that devoured the dragon. This close, you see it as a ragged-edged tear in the world. As you near, the portal flares bright, brighter, too bright to stand. When the light fades and at last you can see again, a great, shaggy aurochs stands before you. A bone-snapping chill radiates from the creature. It is the manifestation of Remergant.
Am I going to have to kill him?
Herald of Bereth, you teeter on the very precipice of your death. Do you so tire of the Pantheon that you seek me out specifically? I am flattered. I have nothing more to say to them. They are petty fools to the One, created in the image of the kith that made them. Passing through the breach will shred your soul into its constituent parts, to little more than wayward motes of essence.
But I bet you've got a deal to make with me.
Knowing that, what do you want?
What happened to the dragon?
Her soul was drawn through the breach, the Wheatmouth, and into the beyond. Neriscyrlas has bound her soul to a relic from the days when the gods walked Aora as titans.
So it's a lich.
This relic lies in the beyond, and it holds her soul captive there.
Who is Neriscyrlas? Kiras.
That is the name the dragon chose for herself.
And about that relic?
It is one of the many things Kith have thrown into the beyond, in hopes it might be devoured by the White Void.
But why did the dragon bind her soul to it?
The relic cannot be destroyed. In her ignorance, Neriscyrlas hoped that tying her soul to it would save her from death. She is mistaken. True death has not claimed her yet. But it will. It is inevitable.
I mean, yeah. Is the relic why this iceberg is here?
Yes. The iceberg is the natural result of Neriscyrlas' desperate attempt to evade death. Every time she escapes from the beyond into the here, She tears the hole a little wider.
And your
And
cult.
so,
Oh.
the chill of my realm spreads.
Man, my eyes are wandering too much. And so the chill of your realm spreads. And what about your cult, the Harbingers?
They have done as Kith always do. They have claimed for themselves a place that is not their own. They are no concern of mine.
And what's the difference between the Veetmouth and the White Void?
The Veetmouth is the gaping maw of entropy. The White Void is the hunger that gnaws at the guts of Aora and cannot be sated.
Your breach will freeze the Deadfire if you don't close it.
That is unfortunate for you.
You don't care?
I do not.
I figured.
However, there is something you may do for me. Like a maggot, the dragon Neriscyrlas has burrowed beneath the skin of my realm.
Okay, and so now here comes the deal.
Destroy her.
And what's in it for me?
A temporary reprieve from my inevitable victory.
I know you're the enigmatic god of cold and all, but I need a bit more to go on that.
Eradicate the dragon, and the Veetmouth will close, sparing your precious realm the insatiable cold of the White Void.
Fine. I'll do it.
Good. I would rather watch you fail than bar your entry. But you lack the means to enter the Veetmouth and survive the journey. You must seek the Eye of Rimergand, a relic that once belonged to my vassal, Reinhider. It is a cold, blue stone, and it lies somewhere within this temple.
Told you we needed to bully that imp and give him a bunch of money for this. You mean this thing here?
Indeed.
I've already got the key.
Approach the Veetmouth with the relic in hand. It will grant your soul safe passage into the Shattered Realms.
Shattered Realms.
The White Void's only purpose is to destroy souls, and it is adept at doing so. I will not stop my servants there from their work. They will treat you no differently than any wayward soul.
'Cause that's too much to ask of a god.
Should you fall to their predations, not even Bereth will be able to save you.
Rimergand pauses, his dark cluster of eyes watching you intently.
One final thing, Watcher. You must destroy that dragon.
When his words fall silent, and only the shriek of the wind through the breach remains, the light flares again, then quickly dies. You open your eyes and find the beast gone.
God. Okay. Into the beyond.
The blinding light of the breach pulses in time with the heartbeat of Aora. Your soul pulses in response.
Ah, so we don't go there physically. Well then. Do we think he's trapped his realm? Surely. Ooh. Big old guy, ain't it? Oh, he's disappeared. Watch out. Oh, he's back. Okay.
That dog won't hunt.
You like that?
Okay. Well, that looks lovely over there. Hey, that looks like the elf. Gone. Just like that.
You followed me into the abyss? Have you so little respect for the scant years your fragile form affords you?
The dragon growls through sword-like teeth, yet the meaning behind the sounds rings within your mind.
I know not why the short-sightedness of Kith continues to surprise me. Leave while the option remains, lest you be bound here as I am.
You're not trapped here. You just attacked Harbinger's watch.
A simple understanding of a complex situation.
Well, then help me understand it.
No.
Then I'm killing you.
I bear responsibility for neither your enlightenment nor your sophistication.
But now you're definitely going down, insulting my sophistication. Listen here, I ain't no yokel bumpkin from down south, The great reptile's head cranes to the right, turning a glowing eye upon you. Snort flares her nostrils.
Descend into the void or do not. I care neither way. But know that within its depths do all things encounter their endings.
So what, jump down the hole? Excuse me. In the silence that follows the dragon's descent, a faint twinge plays along the hair on your arms. After a moment, you realize that the sensation stems from your soul. A faint echo of essence across your watcher senses. The fractured pieces of the armored spirit you saw rush to battle. Neriscyrlas reach out to you, beckoning. Over there? Where is it? I don't see it. Are they invisible? Faintly pulsing strands of soul essence collect here as if seeking one another's comfort. As you reach out to it with your spirit, broken soul seems to peer back at you. The damned dragon hisses as you drive the mace upwards to the bottom of its jaw. It attempts to bat you away from the veet mouth, but you duck beneath its claws. You jam the edge of your shield into the side of its neck. You will not again allow it passage into the world of the living. With an abrupt shock of pain, the vision ends. The strands of the sundered soul cling to you like cobwebs.
Dim in the lantern.
I don't know. Seems a bit strange. Can't pass through there because water's flowing through there, but it's flowing up the wrong way, right? If that makes any sense. What this is. Another wandering soul over here. Faintly pulsing strands of soul essence stretch towards you, interweaving with those you collected before. The spirit grows stronger within you. It's an honor, your mother told you. The altar of decline rarely sends Fragantur among the clans, but your heart breaks as the land recedes behind the ship. You never noticed it before, such warmth for your frigid home, but it is stark as day in its absence. You'll sail north, the captain tells you, keeping well to the west of Nasitak and its stout defenders. The journey will take weeks, but it'll be quicker, he says, as he points you towards the oars, if you're rowing with the rest of us. The roiling essence settles within you. Another one. Sure. Loot over here to grab first. A void shard. The faintly pulsing strands of soul essence stretch towards you, interweaving with those you collected before. The spirit grows stronger within you. Reinheidir, Ulrun's daughter, dragged again before the elders for wandering. Never leave the clan without another. They'd said before, would say again, each time drumming it into her shoulders with a staff of etched bone. The land is one of endings, the beast of winter's dread demesnes, where he lurks beneath the snow, above the stars and within red fangs and claws. Never walk alone. The girl will not learn. Bjarnli Fall tells them, for her ears are frozen shut. She wants to hit him, but he's a bare-blooded adult, grown, and she but a gawkish child of fish and berries. He's not worth another drumming. The elder silences him. She will learn, the wizened elf answers, or she will die. Regardless, she belongs to Rimmergand, and not to you. Reconstituted soul pulses like a heart. Okay. I wonder what this does. A beam of clear, radiant light cuts through the murky expanse of the beyond. The air around it is notably warmer than the rest of this realm. The source of the illumination is too distant, and the effort of looking hurts your eyes. You suspect the light is something more than it seems, but that could be true of many things in this realm. Alright. Strange. There's a chest over there, but water in the way. Somebody put water in the way. Here's another soul. You've only approached the essence before it sweeps towards you, drawn into the growing soul clinging to your own frigid cold, or into your own. Frigid cold washes over you. You have to ignore the screaming, to shut it out and focus. The dragon's at the doors, and you've but moments before it's breached them, before it's reached the Veetmouth, to sup on Rimmergand's gateway, as it has so many of your kin. You will not allow it. In your prayers, you open the way to Rimmergand, forging a road for your soul. From the here through the beyond and into the very depths of the white void, he accepts, the Veetmouth opens, the winter claims all. The spirit tears itself from you, stepping away even as it manifests a visible form. Wow. A soul, goodness, I'm burping left and right. A soul stands before you, shimmering and indistinct, her sharp elven features fading to nothing at the edges and extremities. You recognize her form as that of the armored corpse standing frozen in the temple beyond the portal.
You trespass.
Oh, I do, okay. The soul's voice seems to come from everywhere at once. From her, from the air around you, and from within your own mind. Its chill runs down the sides of your neck, numbness descending from your ears to your shoulders. I am a trespasser to take down another trespasser. That dragon lady thing?
We ain't never been great with boundaries, friend.
I mean, like, Rimmergand does want me in here to deal with the dragon, right?
Yes, you and all others. Yet you arrived before the appointed hour.
Her brow furrows. And when's the appointed hour? The end of Aora?
Or perhaps after.
The figure takes a step closer, and the air grows colder, drier. Frost spreads from her feet.
You retain yourself. Your life, your awareness, your soul. How?
Rimmergand gave me this. The spirit's eyes widen as she reaches towards the orb. She stops short, fingers twitching, before letting her hand drop to her side. Her attention falls to the frozen ground.
Your presence suggests that Rimmergand has chosen a new guardian to put the worm to the blade.
That's right. You suck at your job.
To succeed where I have failed.
You tried to kill that monster. Do you know what it is?
Before it came here, it was a dragon. What it has become since, exactly, I cannot say. It fell upon our temple wielding powerful wizardry. I believed that it desired the temple itself, or our accumulated lore. I was mistaken.
I need to find that dragon.
Then you must seek it below. Know that the white void will consume you, however. A few souls here cling tenaciously to coherence. Some for as long as centuries. Seek them, if you would know the secrets of their longevity.
It's a good idea.
This place decomposes spirits. Do not be surprised if the souls require repair before rendering you aid.
So I just need, like, enough to, like, last me an hour, maybe 2.
I imagine, though, that the Beast of Winter would prefer you hasten their dissolution.
You know what? I try not to make a habit of doing the God's work for them, but killing stuff is a bit of my specialty. So I'll probably help if I can, after I get the information from them. Reinheidir bows her head to you.
In its desperate thrashing, the worm has scattered this ruined realm. You may find your way stymied as you proceed. Do not fear to forge the path you seek.
What? I receive 100 afflictions. Great. Okay. Why was the camera wanting to follow them? The bridge ablaze. I wonder where this takes me. A faint stirring of air from this portal carries familiar scents, the foliage of a deer-wooden wilderness. Through the shimmering gate, a structure of thick stone rises, thronged by soldiers awash in the rosy shades of dawn. The light shifts to the clear, bright blue of day, then again to red, all within a matter of moments.
I think that soldier's raid Saren. That one too.
At a battlefield, it seems.
Leave it to me.
Under the helmet, the soldier wears an accomplished grin, frozen in death. I wonder where all this light is. Big ol' Audra pillar there. Okay. Some poisons and bombs. They got traps. They got explosives galore around here. Behind the dear wooden defenses, Rayed Sarens laid down their lives to open the way for Waidwen's crossing. Are we at the bridge of the bridge to Defiance Bay? At least one of them. Well, I mean, it wasn't that bridge. It was... Man, I can't remember what it was called.
Is that? No. It can't be. Can it? Evandur Bridge.
Evandur Bridge of the Saints' War, where the Godhammer was. Let's see if we can find Durance somewhere in here.
This is where the Saints' War ended. Godhammer went off, blasted this place to pieces. And everyone in it.
Everyone but Durance. That Chad of a priest who trips over all the traps and... Yeah.
Say, how reliable are these memories anyway? Is this how it actually looked, or just what someone remembers of it?
It's pretty detailed. I don't know.
Oh, let's just hope the Godhammer doesn't explode in this particular memory while we're standing in it.
Everything seems rather frozen right now, so, half of this soldier's face is missing. Got taken by an arquebus. Their expressions reflect a mixture of determination and hopelessness. Something heavy is leaning against the other side of the door, wedging it shut. I like how many gunpowder barrels are lying about.
Would you look at this?
I don't like how there's traps. Why are there traps on the bridge? And there he is. Waidwen. The figure at the head of the Neriscyrlas army seems at odds with his surroundings. More like he's delivering a sermon than leading a bloodthirsty vanguard. His body overflows with soul essence, more than any mortal could hope to contain.
Lord alight, that's Saint Waidwen himself.
So his light really does shine. Though he has the protection of an army rallying around him, his features are creased with apprehension. You haven't spotted a priest by the name of Durance, have you? He offers no reply.
I'm sure he would have heard about it if Durance were actually here at the time. No, building the bomb and gloating about it from a safe distance? Yeah, that's more like him.
Durance was here. I saw him. At least, a memory of his. You okay, Adair?
That's not something you see every day. Not even on your worst day. I suppose for the dozen, this was their worst day.
Or their best. The dozen were following the will of Magrin, and they kind of wanted it.
I always figured the stories were exaggerations. Hedda lied and all that. People always make things sound worse than they were, but... And this looks about bad enough.
It does. We reach out to Waidwen's soul. The response is immediate. A dim echo of soul essence clinging to Waidwen lurches toward you like a drowning man taking his first lungful of air.
Where am I? And who are you?
Conflicting emotions radiate from his soul, like a mind waking from a deep and restless sleep. I'm Rollen Tallstag.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. The name's Waidwen. I'm nothing special, just a farmer.
So, Aethys isn't here.
Oh no, I feel something. It's coming on like a sneeze, but bigger. This is all happening again, isn't it?
This would be a very bad time for history to repeat itself right now.
Keep your distance. It's coming. The cycle's turning back on itself.
Waidwen's soul strains to avoid it, but you feel the pull of an unseen force tearing at him, shredding this moment of clarity. And then he's gone.
Did they expect a dozen to stand against the dawn?
Waidwen stares down what remains of the dear wooden defenders, the last men and women holding the line against him. Just... Aethys? He offers no reply. What speaks is neither Waidwen nor Aethys, but the result of their violent collision.
Resist and the light will extinguish you. Surrender and be redeemed by the coming of the day.
You feel Waidwen summoning his will to attack. He knows how this will end, not because he has reenacted it countless times before, but because it could end no other way. Before he can launch his attack, a tremor runs through the bridge. Heat rises from the stones and bellows into an inferno. The moment after. Torn apart by the force of the bomb, Waidwen is a tableau of agony. Any divine aspect has fled, leaving him nothing more than a mortal in great pain.
Must have been a pretty bad way for Waidwen to wake up.
It is pretty rough. Something catches the light. An engraved circular trinket hanging around Waidwen's neck by a thin cord. The cord won't disentangle from Waidwen's neck, but you manage to slip the trinket free. It's a personal sundial, properly adjusted, it can beam a small ray of light on the time of day. As your hand closes around it, the spirits of the realm stir in agitation. Roused by your interference, the spirits converge on your position in wordless fury. Okay.
Oh, hell. Moe.
Take this. Damn it, plastic. Nice hit.
All think worse than raw. All think worse than raw. Moe. Ixie on.
Something warm shines from the distant obscurity of the beyond. It isn't a fire or a star, but light itself, seemingly disconnected from any source. You know this isn't your first time seeing it. No sooner does it roll its attention toward you than you feel the heat of a familiar, piercing gaze. Aethys. What are you doing here?
Grieving. That man, Waidwen. He had a life that I invaded, delivered to death, and consigned to this culvert. I left him to stand and accept punishment in my stead. I am the piece of the dawn stars that lingered, delayed by grief.
You're feeling ambivalent about the Saints' War.
About aspects of it. Waidwen's fractured mind is holding this bridge, suspended in time. He's no good to anyone until he understands what he forgot.
The energies around the bridge seem drawn to this sundial.
A fitting token for Waidwen. As a holy man, he was a keeper of the light. As a farmer, he was indebted to cycles.
Aethys' light falls on the timepiece, bathing it in a warm glow.
Watcher, I implore you for Waidwen's sake, to stand in my light and read the sundial. You can follow the timeline of the bomb and find Waidwen in the explosion.
I'll carry his sundial into the light and see what happens.
Waidwen is scattered across the bridge in 3 parts, but I sense a 4th nearby as well. A piece that detonated with the bomb. Find him in the Godhammer. Make him whole again.
Make him whole. Carry him onwards to the cycle.
I'll see what I can find.
Aye, aye.
Sure.
Torn apart by the force of the bomb, Waidwen is a tableau of agony. Any divine aspect has fled, leaving him more than I think I've read all this. In his broken state, he is beyond any help. A beam of clear, radiant light cuts through the murky expanse of the beyond. The air around it is notably warmer than the rest of this realm. Behold Waidwen's sundial up to the light. The light shines down the sundial's pinhole and aligns with dusk. Okay. So dawn is the beginning. I would assume. We're at the ending. In dusk. Let's start with the beginning, I guess. As you adjust the sundial, the ambient light shifts around you and the ground trembles beneath your feet. Squeaky chair. Okay.
Oh, good. This is much better. One thing we were missing was being incinerated by Durance's bomb.
I've seen this moment in my dreams.
That's a bit scary. So, where would his stuff be fractured? And where at? Stuff like that. Oh no.
Why not?
Maybe from here we can go to Dusk. Like, maybe this part of the bridge will be somewhere different.
It's mine now.
What hidden something? Can we get up to there? I still don't see the hidden something. I don't know, maybe I'm blind. Some more burning soldiers.
Another attack, Cap.
Lava beyond seek.
Arthur. Worthen Ross.
That's me too, man.
Moeth Ixie Honor.
That must have hurt. You like that?
Lavru beyond seek. Arthur Worthen Ross.
Lava beyond seek.
Arthur Worthen Ross.
Take this. There's a walloping!
Moeth Ixie Honor. Oh, hell.
Okay.
No problem.
Well, with that dealt with. There's a bit of wandering soul. Fragmented from Waidwen in the blast, the splinter of soul essence feverishly clings to a moment in life, now forgotten. You dangled your legs over the edge of a dock. In the gloom of pre-dawn, the lake resembled a mirror of polished obsidian. Your father approached with a pair of fishing rods. Back then, he stood as tall as a mountain. He expected you to be ready in the boat by now. What had you so distracted? Father, would the morning still come if Aethys wasn't there to draw it over the horizon? He sighed. A foolish question. Aethys is the dawn. His absence would be the death of all light. You are old enough for this to be obvious. What is truly on your mind? Your father knows you well enough to see you through his obvious deflection. We till the soil and we plant the seeds, but give thanks only to Aethys for the harvest. Before you could finish the thought, the fishing rods clattered to the ground and your father struck you hard enough that you pitched forward into the lake. Your mouth opened with a cry that was quickly stifled by the cold water. He bellowed that the gods deserved gratitude, not ignorant child's faithless doubt. You should thank Aethys for the harvest and the dawn. Pride will only make you complacent. You were never a strong swimmer. By the time you desperately clawed your way back to the surface, your father had rowed out to the middle of the lake to be alone. You knew better than to call out to him and interrupt his fishing. You sat on the shore and awaited his return. When the dawn crested the horizon, you didn't give thanks for the warmth it brought. You wanted to remember the cold.
What did you see in there anyway?
A look of genuine curiosity comes over Adair's face as he levels his gaze to meet yours. Waidwen and his father had some turbulent disagreements over faith.
Strange thing to think of right before you get blown to pieces, don't you think?
It is. but they do say your life flashes before your eyes when you're meeting death. The explosion of the Godhammer bomb has ripped Waidwen's body in half. It happened so quickly that his face has yet to lose the creases of concern he wore a moment ago. In this broken state, he is beyond any help. Leave him be for now. We gotta find those fragments. Fragmented from Waidwen in the blast, a splinter of soul essence feverishly clings to a moment in life, now forgotten. Your father reached up from the sickbed and clutched at your wrist, his fingers gnarled and skeletal. You'd seen enough of this condition spreading through the colony to know he wouldn't last long. It was a miracle he hung on this long. His breathing was labored, his voice ragged, but his gaze was alert and full of questions that only you could answer. I'll see you after the farm when you're gone, and make sure it stays in the family. He shook his head and maintained his grip. His lips and nose were stained by the voidless cough, a plague that covered the phlegm purple. To you it resembled an actor's smeared face paint. He asked in a ragged whisper if you kept to your faith. I still thank Aethys for the harvest and the dawn, just as you taught me. Satisfied, he nodded, but then his grip tightened as another fit of coughing crumpled him into a ball. And I'll thank him for the dusk as it settles over you, Father. The coughing fit rattled to a halt as your father regarded you in wide-eyed shock. You left me to face a cold dawn. Now you can give thanks to the fading of your light, and you can do it alone. Ooh. You moved away from the sick bed that was soon to be a deathbed, closing the door quietly behind you. Then you stepped out on the porch to savor the last rays of the day.
What did you see in there anyway?
A look of genuine curiosity comes over Adair's face as he levels his gaze to meet yours. Waidwen never forgave his father.
That's a hard thing to carry all this way.
The water, so cold. This day I believe Father wanted me to drown. If my faith was untrue, then I wasn't worthy to be his son. We could have parted on better terms, Father. But your son has too much of you in him. See, Father? I can be as vindictive as you.
I'll get us out of here if I can, Waidwen.
You're a saint to even consider it. Whatever happened here scattered me in body and mind. I can't leave while I'm shattered. Gather enough of the pieces and maybe I'll be strong enough to be some help.
I'll see what I can find.
Damn it. Why can't I remember?
The soul of this robed priestess circles round the same thoughts in a pattern reminiscent of pacing. Well, it's clear who she is.
I memorized that illusion spell. How can it be gone? Another second and Waidwen will know the bomb is here. Damn it, girl. This is your chance. The whole point of the thing is that his soul finds him first.
His soul finds him first, so that was the trigger? Is that Waidwen would enter into a proximity, and then the fragment of his soul in the Godhammer would fly into his soul, and the soul leaving the Godhammer for the full picture will blow it up. As you intuit her meaning, you catch a flash of memory. Robed priests assembling a delicate mechanism, spiked copper plates housing a fragile shard of Adra. The Adra houses a piece of Waidwen's soul. I think this is what you're looking for. The memory of Magranite incantations. No sooner does the book make contact with her than it ceases to exist. The Absorbed into her memories, you feel the essence of the priestess swell with life and vigor.
Of course. Simple. How would I forget a thing like that anyway?
Because you're fractured. As she begins the incantation, you comprehend where and how the bomb was hidden. Knowing this, it feels as if 1,000 pairs of eyes are observing your progress at once. The illusion fades under their scrutiny. Whoa, that's pretty big. Though I guess, to blow up an entire bridge like that, you need to be pretty big. So this is probably where the fourth one is, huh? The heat of Margren's fire singes your face as you draw closer to the Godhammer bomb, which feels poised to go off at any instant. Under layers of copper plating, enchantments, and volatile materials, you sense a fragment of Waidwen's soul. It reaches out to you in blind confusion. A parchment-thin shard of Audra is positioned inside of a spiked copper trap. When a current of essence conducts through the Audra, the trap will snap shut and complete a circuit. It would take incredible care to extract the soul without setting off the bomb. Force the soul out and detonate the bomb. You extend your will into the mechanism, probing until you find the fragment of Waidwen's soul. You give it a forceful tug. The bomb responds at once, its moving parts coming together and radiating oppressive heat that pushes you away until your world is bathed in flame. A splintered fragment of Waidwen's soul clings to the spot, endlessly recalling some piece of memory consumed by guilt and shame. You drew your sickle across a thin patch of Vorlus. The harvest would be a poor one, but at least that was a shared burden that no one in Neriscyrlas suffered alone. We could use some rain to go with all the sunlight, Aethys. My thanks in advance. As usual, there was no reply. You drew the sundial out from under your shirt, but the light had waned too much to judge the hour. Waidwen. You flinched as the chiming of a bell echoed from some distant source. A sensation of warmth spread across your back. Who's there? The daylight blossomed to life, exploding into many colors that filled the sky. You turned to face it, shielding your eyes until you realized that it didn't hurt to look into this brilliance. A glowing figure loomed before you. Do you still thank me for the dawn and the harvest, Waidwen? You dropped to your knees. You felt laid bare before the light of Aethys. Every word spoken in hate, every punch you threw first, every time you turned your back to the dawn, they were all his to judge. I won't plead for mercy. Do what you came to do. You tilted your head to present your neck, a motion you had seen repeated too many times in the town square. The luminescent figure flickered in a way that reminded you at once of a guttering candle and a chuckle. Do you think I'm here to admonish and cast you into the lake? No, I would draw you back to the warmth for a higher calling. He knew. Suddenly, you felt like that child again, vulnerable and alone before a looming all-powerful presence. Fear not, for you are chosen above all others. You will be the light to bring about the rebirth of an empire. An empire? It was gibberish to you. Aethys probably knew something you didn't. Of course he did. His words filled you with warmth and confidence that you had never felt before. Where do we start? He told you that it starts where stories usually do, at a beginning. The sickle fell from your grip with a clatter as a hand reached out from across a great distance to touch your brow. A light stole over your vision. Much later, you awakened, a changed man.
What did you see in there anyway?
A look of genuine curiosity comes over Adair's face as he levels his gaze to meet yours. Waidwen chose his fate for himself. He and Aethys shared a bond.
I suppose that's better than Aethys forcing it on him. I always wondered about that. A lot of folks did.
A splintered fragment of Waidwen's soul clings to the spot, endlessly recalling some piece of memory consumed by guilt and shame. Dawn rose over the mountain pass where you camped your forces. The first rays warmed the tents and roused your armed congregation from slumber. Evandur Bridge was a speck on the horizon. Scouts say that a dozen soldiers hold the crossing. What do they think they can accomplish? You spat in the wind and considered your options. No one said this would be easy, but you started to wonder if the world even wanted a saint. The Deerwoods certainly didn't. They must have something to believe in, something that could turn the tides against us. You were only thinking aloud, but without warning, it became one of the rare moments when a familiar voice interceded with your thoughts. It's possible. Our adversaries do not lack for motivation. You flinched as the presence asserted itself. Aethys had been preoccupied lately, spending days in contemplative silence, distancing himself from you. What do you think, old friend? Could this be the end of our long march? You, Aethys, considered your answer with care. The inevitability of things always comes easier to Remerkand, and in this moment, you envied him. Good God. You and I may stumble, but our legacy will live on. If not on this frontier, then another. Waidwen nodded, absorbing your words. Why try and stop us, though? Don't they want to see the light as we do? For some reason, it was always so hard telling Waidwen the truth. Maybe all the gods were out of practice. You already knew about the bomb, and you decided not to act on that knowledge. But Waidwen deserved an answer, even if it wasn't the entire truth. Change is agonizing. Mortals will fight to avoid it, but it always catches up to them in time. Waidwen looked out on Evandur Bridge and wondered if he was ready to face the dusk. His thoughts were a placid lake. Then he spoke his mind again, this time taking you by surprise. Those defenders are looking past their faith to stand against a god. They're here to fight for everything they've built and planted together. Waidwen was beginning to see the point. It was your sorrow to know that he wouldn't live long enough to fully appreciate it. Kith are supposed to face the dawn together, not to depend on it. Our first duty is to each other. You wanted to tell Waidwen how proud you felt, but he no longer needed a father's approval to know he was right. That saddened you even more than knowing that Waidwen had seen his last sunrise. This is a terrible lesson, Aethys. There's better ways of teaching people to, count on one another than starting a war.
What did you see in there anyway?
Aethys wanted Waidwen, everyone, to believe in a world where Kith had control over their destiny.
Starting wars, knocking over castles, sucking out souls. He sure has a strange way of showing us.
It is a very strange way. I feel like there's way easier ways of handling things like that, As all the essence you gathered on Evandur Bridge converges on Waidwen, his soul brightens with a flash. Then his eyes snap open as a tide of revelation washes over him. Just watch.
Thank you, friend. I'm struggling to understand it all, but my thoughts are clearer now.
Waidwen wobbles on his feet, His expression of bewilderment shapes into a broad grin as he recovers his bearings.
I think I accept why this needed to happen. But it is only human to feel conflicted.
I'm guessing the cycle is broken now.
Unless you feel like taking it for another go-around. I can wait.
He smiles lopsidedly. This is some time for humor.
There is a lesson, a purpose to the Godhammer that I failed to grasp.
Waidwen looks out on the bridge, paying particular attention to the men and women rallying against each other.
Eothas wanted the people of the world to stand tall, without gods propping them up.
And yet, the gods pitched each other into war.
The Godhammer didn't just tear Eothas from my body. It drove a wedge between gods and Kith across Eora. And isn't that just a version of what he always wanted?
Maybe you're right. Because of Eothas, mortals saw a god annihilated.
Taking on that burden of suffering wasn't in Eothas' original plan. But it served him well enough that he was content to keep his distance for a few quiet years.
Waidwen shrugs. The matter seems to weigh on him less than before.
Now that I'm free, I can feel oblivion tugging at me harder than before. We won't have time to savor the victory, friend.
Waidwen looks down at his hands, which even now seem less substantial as the white void draws him away. He doesn't seem to mind. See that I helped you, maybe you could lend a hand against a Dracolich?
I might have guessed you didn't come this far just to pull me out of a bad situation.
I mean, it was just something to do along the way.
At the risk of sounding ungrateful, it's been ages since I took up a pitchfork against anything larger than a bale of hay. You'd do better without me. Really.
If you have no faith in yourself, then you miss the point of the Saints' War.
What are you saying?
Eothas wanted Kith to stand together. If you leave, then you're betraying his lesson.
I'm not sure this is what he had in mind. But you make a good point. Point me toward the fiend that means you harm and I'll drag it down to oblivion with me. Onward.
Waidwen gestures for you to take the lead.
Going into battle alongside St. Waidwen. Every day brings something new.
Hell yeah.
Never thought I'd be fighting beside an honest-to-God saint. Makes a gal feel real righteous.
What? He even has a cool outro. Look at that. Well, maybe he'll help, I guess. Well, hello there, Pilgrim. I see that the Tall Stag also has a following. A following less zealot than mine own. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't like this video and comment down below what your favorite part of this whole thing was. I hope maybe I brought a bit of light to your world as well.